So why do we treat the animals that we treat with so much compassion, so much respect, so much love and caring for them, and then turn around and kill them to eat them?
Why do we do what we do? That is one of the questions we get asked quite often, really, in the comments and things like that. We've seen people ask that to others and that live the lifestyle we do. So it's a big question out there. Maybe not necessarily why do you do it, but how do you do it, I think is more of the question that is asked most often. How do you do what you do? How do you live amongst these animals and they become part of your family? Because they do, and then their purpose is for food.
So one of the big reasons is we've seen the way that factory farms, way the animals are raised. We've drove through Amarillo and seen the nastiness of the feedlots and things like that. I actually worked in a chicken house when I was younger, gathering eggs, and I mean, they're just stuck in the cages. All they do is eat grain and pop eggs out. So our chickens, as you know, they're able to free range for the most part. We've tried it 100%, did not work. And they get to eat the bugs, scratch the ground, they get out in the real air, not all of the ammonia of all of the feces in the buildings, they're stuck in there.
Also with our pigs are the same scenario. We actually told you we bought show pigs. That's the last pigs we bought. And let me tell you, the place we went and bought them was a spread. It was nice. Beautiful, and it was nice, but it's still just raising pigs in barns, in stalls, and things like that. And I'm not criticizing, because Ben's grandpa was a pig farmer that raised pigs for market and for show pigs and things like that. And he did let his out on pasture. We've seen his old setup and everything over. Part of it is still there. So I'm not criticizing just anyone that's doing it differently than us. But I am saying that is one motivating factor, is places that are solely raising them inside in little stalls. That's just what we're trying to get away from.
And then on the being out in pasture, they get the vitamin D from the sun, correct?
Yes. Pigs are a wonderful animal that if you allow them to be outside, the sun, the vitamin D actually absorbs into their fat stores. And so that is why lard from a pasture-raised pig is healthy and good for you. It's full of vitamin D, as opposed to one that's only inside, because they don't see the sun and the same thing doesn't happen. It's not the same product. So it is great for them in that way.
And as we're seeing right now on these show pigs that we bought, them not being accustomed to being outside, they're sunburning a little bit. They're not used to it. They're just like us. They got to get a tan. Yeah,
they've sunburned for sure. And that leads also into our cattle.
Yep.
Ben has been the spearhead on that operation. We started out trying to put them out in the rotational grazing system, going through like the NRCS office. We've spoke to you all about that before. It's an office that will help you pay for things and get going. We didn't go that route, but we thought it was something we were so passionate about and wanted to do. We went ahead and did it anyway. We built all this setup ourselves, paid for every dime ourselves, and have set up a rotational grazing system for our cattle because we feel so strongly about raising them that way.
There was a couple of big reasons that we decided to go ahead and do that ourselves. It was mainly because we've been farming for years just the traditional way, and after so many years, if you have been filing your taxes as a farmer, your percentage on that goes down, what you can receive from the NRCS office. But on top of that, you when you file for it, you may have to wait 1, 2, maybe even up to 3 years before you get granted to be able to do it and then pay for it. So we looked at the long-term aspect of it and thought, we can go ahead and sink our money into it and start making a profit sooner rather than waiting later on them.
And we are this winter going really big on meat chickens, broilers. We are building what's called a prairie schooner. We will be showing you guys that, taking you along for that. It's a huge venture for our family.
Very huge.
We're going to start out with a batch of 700 of those next year and possibly do 4 batches. In Arkansas, the way the weather and everything is, you can squeeze in 10 batches of broilers, meat chickens, from starting early spring to going kind of late fall. You can do that. We're not doing that first year.
No, for one reason, we got to see.
Smaller.
We got to see how much our turnover is going to be, how much we're going to be able to sell, and how much room we're going to have to freeze it.
Because we're going to have to sell to be able to have cash flow to do the next batch. But that leads me to, why are we building a prairie schooner? Why are we trying to get meat chickens out in the pasture? Because that's a big honking thing we're going to have to move every single day and all that. So that leads to the point of this video. Why are we doing it, and how can we do it?
So one of our main goals is we're wanting to raise each species out here, the pigs, the cows, the chickens, the broilers, in natural habitat as close as it can be without predation getting a hold of it. We had that problem when we tried 100% free range in our egg layers. We lost almost half of our flock in just a few hours.
So what we're saying by that is we're trying to get them back to, if we were not confining them, if they were a wild animal, how would they be living? Pigs would be in the woods. That's where pigs live. That's where they feel safe there. They've got cover. They can root around. They can eat acorns and roots and all kinds of stuff that they can find. They can survive without us and thrive, actually. If you've ever had a wild hog problem, you know it goes from a couple to a ton in no time. They can survive on their own.
The same thing goes for the cattle. You know, the way we're doing it, we're making them move how we want them to, but it would be just like them out in the wild. They would be moving throughout the prairies, grazing as they're moving. But this way we're keeping them in tighter areas to make them clean up better in our fields, which will benefit them in the long run.
So, and the same thing with chickens. They would be out scratching and grazing and everything in one area for bugs and things, and then they would move on. So that's why that prairie schooner is gonna move every day. So that is an overall picture of kind of what we're doing. We're trying to mimic nature here. That is our goal here with each species we're raising, because they were designed a certain way for a reason, and trying to do it some other way just has kind of got us in the shape we're in. And so that is what we're doing. And then the question is, how do we bring ourselves to love and care for these animals and then eat them?
So how can we do it? I guess it gets back to, if you want to know where your food comes from and feel 100% secure in it, you do it yourself, if you can.
Or you find a farmer that can do it for you, and you're involved in the process.
Correct. But I've even seen comments out there where people are like, why are you doing it like that? Why don't you just go to Kroger or Walmart or whatever and buy it off the shelf? I hope you're not one of them, but there are people out there that does not know where their food comes from. They just think they can go to the store and buy it right off the shelf. Somewhere, somebody is having to do what we're doing. Raise that animal, kill that animal, process that animal, and it's going to wind up on that shelf.
We choose as a family to eat meat. We've never hidden that fact on our YouTube channel, but with saying that, we have lots of wonderful viewers on here that I know for a fact are vegan, and you are very welcome here. This is not a channel to push you to eat meat. Nope. It's just a channel to show what it looks like to do that. And there's a heavy responsibility that comes along with eating meat, because you are taking the life of an animal. So how can we choose to do it? How can I cry over a cow that we've had to put down and then eat a hamburger? How can I bring myself to do that? Well, by choosing to be meat eaters, I feel like it's responsible of us to take part in the whole process and to own it ourselves. And so, yes, we do feel compassion for these animals. That's why you will see us cry. That's why you will see us agonize over situations that crop up, because they're going to crop up. Y'all don't see it.
Work so hard in the middle of the night. pouring down rain,
Losing
just all kinds of bad situations. When you've got a situation happening, it's not going to wait till tomorrow. You've got to get on it right then. So we do have compassion, we do have love for these animals, but in the overall scheme of things, we see the big picture for our family as meat eaters, that they will wind up providing food for our family. That's what we choose to do.
For our family, for other families, we are trying to make a positive stamp on this world and on our part of this world. And that, for us, our calling is raising quality meat for us and for others, and ethically, and to give those animals the best life possible while they're here on our farm. And that's what we strive to do. That's why we cry over them. That's why we lose sleep. That's why we do what we do. And I guess, in a sense, that's how we can do it.
So that goes back to that saying we heard a long time ago: animals on our farm just have one bad day.
And so we really take that to heart. We try to make them have the best, happiest, most natural life possible. Whatever animal that is, living its...
Even like a dog like that, just loving to run back and forth, and bark and bark.
Do I let myself get attached to ones that I know are not gonna be going for food? Absolutely. I get attached to all of them, even the ones that are going for food, but there is a different level with some of the ones like Miracle and ones like that I know are staying around here pretty much for their whole life. Yes, I do allow myself to get super attached. In fact, my first milk cow, her name was Mama. We weren't super creative with the name. We called her Mama Cow from the beginning, and then her name just became Mama. And when you said Mama, we knew you were talking about the cow. And I was super attached to that cow.
He was heartbroken when we
She taught me how to milk a cow. She taught me, I could cry talking about it. She taught me to be brave, because I was afraid of cows. I was afraid of big animals, and she was so patient with me and was just, I don't know, I feel like that time in my life was me becoming who I am now, the real me. And so when we had to sell her, I cried. I'm crying now. It's been several years. I'm crying over a cow. Isn't that crazy? But so yes, we do have feelings.
You have emotional attachments.
And like I said, we get attached to ones that we know are going to be food for us or for some family. But it's just I guess what it boils down to is this is our calling. I think every one of us has a calling. You have a calling, even if you don't think you do, you do. You just might have to find it. It may be unconventional. You may be a girl that grew up on a golf course and you're called to milk a cow. But you have a calling.
And then cries over 7 years later.
So this is ours. And so I say that to say that's how we do it. Is because I feel like we're walking out our calling. And I hope that you are too. And I hope if there's something we can do to encourage you in your calling, we would love to do that. Our YouTube channel, we hope, is a ministry and an encouragement to you guys. And if that's all it ever turns out to be, it's been a success.
Yes. So if you're the spouse of someone like Andrea that has a calling that you're not 100% sure that they will like, just get behind them, support them, encourage them throughout it, and you never know.
When we bought the milk cow, you were like, she's not going to stick with this.
Nope.
This is not going to work, because I'm an in and out, all in, all out type girl. And I'm all into something one day, and then I'm like, no, I hate that.
But that also goes back to everything that I was taught growing up about farming. Traditional farming, milking cows, morning, night, 7 days a week. No vacation. We didn't know about this. Milk them, put the calf on them, milk them when you want to. Same thing about the rotational grazing. Traditional farming. That's just the way I was raised.
You've had to be a lot more open-minded and to back up from everything that just people are doing around us, that's the way we do it. You've had to learn to be flexible and let's try something different.
Right.
Maybe there is a better way.
Right. So just be supportive of your spouse, of your loved one, of your friend, whoever it is. Be supportive of them. You never know what's going to come out of that, what's going to blossom from that.